Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm just going to bring that up what you just said about we don't realize at the time, like Doug would have looked up to you, I'm assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, that
I
you were
hope
the
so.
uh, you were the principal, and you were the principal in his eyes. Now, if anyone said, hey, Doug, in about 10 years or so, you're going to be inspiring your principal and she's going to be talking to you about challenges in her life, you would have gone, yeah, right, okay, right?
Probably.
We
Hey,
don't know. We have no idea.
hey, Karen, now that Andy's brought that up, tell him what you told me the other day about seeing my soda addiction. Very quick.
So Douglas, when he was in second grade, would come to school and have had quite a bit of Mountain Dew. And Dr. Pepper was his other love. And so he would, sometimes struggle with being able to sit still in a classroom and attend to his education. And so to see that flipped completely from what he was as an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, and how he has completely changed his life is really important. And that's one of the things Douglas and I have talked about, is that we really need to be educating our children at a much, much younger age, even in preschool, about nutrition, about mindfulness, and kindness and compassion. I think those, quite frankly, if I were to start my own school again, I did start one for at-risk kids a couple of years ago, high school kids. But if I were going to be starting another school, it would be starting preschool and really, really impacting kids early on so that they can help self-regulate and also learn how nutrition impacts their lives, not just on a daily basis, but over years and decades. Yeah. That's important.
Yeah, and that's really true. And like the thing is, like the universe or whatever you believe in. Like I have my faith. I ride with a Christian motorcycle club now, and that's not a statement like, "Hey, I'm all special" or anything. That's what I believe, and that's okay. Like I'm up for what anyone ever believes. I'm not going to Bible bash people because I'm still a very imperfect human being. So whatever you believe, that's fine. You're still a human being, and I'm not going to judge people because they don't believe in this or they think my faith is crazy because it's okay. It might be a bit. I don't know. I'm not the judge of that. But the point is, like, accepting people who they are is a big deal. And like Doug and myself, I coach a lot of actors, right? So my style of coaching is probably a little aggressive because I'm aggressive. I've been aggressive all my life. So I've turned that into coaching in a good way, but it's not easy. And I warn people, actors, when you coach with me, I'm not the best acting coach in the world, but I will get you off your couch and I will make you comfortable being uncomfortable. And if you can deal with that, I'm not going to make you a great person. You are. I'm just going to keep telling you, what'd you do? You didn't do it. You said you're going to do it. Why are you not doing it? And Doug will attest to that. Like when he does something, it's not making him wrong. It's going, you're growing. And if you look back at where you were at school to where you are now, I didn't make you lose weight. I just said, if you don't lose weight, you'll probably have a heart attack or you'll probably get diabetes. I said, what are we going to do? Stop drinking soda. He did it. And then we got him training, got him doing yoga, bike riding. He did all that. I just said, you need to do it.
And now he's got big old muscles.
I know. His aim is to be a bodybuilder. And now with our training over the last few years, he's now got a personal coach where he's ready to go to the next level in bodybuilding and health. Now, if Doug becomes a bodybuilder, that'll just be a massive story because of where he's come from to where he is now and the influence that, it's creating around the world. So, I really appreciate everything you just said because it puts it in perspective. That person that's leading you now, you might be inspiring them in years to come. Who knows? Even your parents, Doug's mum is totally inspired by what we are doing. And, so it's fantastic and we're not doing it. It's the guests that come on and do it for us. Like our story is not powerful without all the guests who come on. So that's why we're very grateful. And this is international. We've got people in Australia, people overseas, everywhere doing it. So it's fantastic. So I
should mention that Andy also coached my daughter that was in Douglas's class years ago. And so she still speaks fondly of you.
Oh, that's right. Yes, we did too. Yeah, that was about the same time as I was coaching Sydney Sweeney and Kodi.
And that's the first time I met. Well, the only time I met Kodi, and congratulations again on everything that's happening for Kodi too.
Yeah, and just a little ad there. Kodi just won a Golden Globe for his performance in Power of the Dog. So now we're going for the Oscar. Yay!
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. Enough about Andy. All right, so Doug, back to you and our next guest.
Kathy, how you doing? And what did you do to overcome bullying?
From our last conversation, so basically my family moved a lot when I was little, and so I tended to be picked up by different bullies every town we moved to, kind of starting over and over and over and over. And it's funny, Andy actually pointed out last time we were talking that my go-to response was to get away from it, to just leave that setting, because not only was I bullied as a child in all these different locations, but also in different workplaces, and then in my marriage, and then in another workplace. And I realized after Andy mentioned it that it's true that my go-to thing to do is to get away from there. If where I'm at is not safe, I will just, find a different employer, find a different, we'll get rid of the husband, haven't found a new one. and so it was kind of interesting. It hadn't occurred to me until Andy said it last time that was my go-to response, was to leave the situation, kind of acknowledging, okay, I can't change that person, so I'm just going to leave. And so I guess that's kind of how I've been dealing with it throughout my life. But it's interesting too, and it's funny how, after that last conversation, I have done a lot of thinking about these different ways that it has impacted my life and how I've responded to it and what's changed. And it's kind of interesting, though, that now with the work that I'm doing, helping other women to kind of reclaim their identity and to take power in their own life, I think almost has come from that history as well. So having that history of having to kind of just become my own protector and to build that buffer around myself, and then recognizing this isn't really working. Now I realize that building a community of supportive people and recognizing that not everybody's a bully and not everybody is against you. So I think that's kind of been the evolution of my life, coming out of those bully situations and now discovering that there is a supportive community and that is a helpful way to kind of strengthen yourself and each other as a group. So thank you guys for doing this, because like I said, I hadn't really put all those pieces together until kind of some of that feedback from Andy in our last meeting.
That's everyone other than Andy.
Yeah, that's great. No, I won't share mine at the moment because it's more about our guests at the moment. I'm sure people can go back and review our previous interviews, but maybe a bit later on. But everything everyone's saying, yes, 100%. So what I'd like to ask is how are you dealing with it now? Even that we say the past is the past and it can be left in the past. Yes, it can, but it still has a residual effect. So can anyone just share what they do now to keep going above that and keep jumping those hurdles and climbing so that this doesn't come back and affect us again? And anyone can speak up first. It's fine.